Okay, welcome to another edition of Hitting Buckets, our golf podcast where we talk about the recent stories in golf and do our best to pick winners. Speaking of winners, let's get right to it. I want to give a congrats to Patrick Cantley, someone who we picked on this pod. And by we, I mean Ryan. Good job on picking Patrick Cantley, this week's winner at the Memorial. Briefly, I know it was your pick, but I also had some investment into Cantley, so it was an enjoyable Sunday afternoon watching him show down with Colin Morikawa into the playoff, where Cantley took the win home. Scheffler was definitely in the mix there for a bit, as he was tied for the lead at one point. But enough of me. Let's go to you, Ryan. Give me your thoughts Sunday afternoon watching your pick Cantley fight it out with Colin Morikawa for the Memorial Tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it really turned out to be a fun tournament. I didn't think it was going to turn out that way on Saturday. I mean, I watched a little bit of the second nine there for Rahm and them, and then I turned it off after their tee shots on the 18th. And I thought I was done for the weekend, and I was going to the beach, and then I started getting texts, and I thought most of them were jokes, but it's too bad what happened to Rahm. But I mean, Cantley and Morikawa had to immediately go from, getting dominated by Rahm all day to changing the mindset into leading a tournament, a 3-shot lead over the pack going into Sunday. And I mean, it was fun golf to watch. They came out a little rusty at the start. It's like no one wanted it, and then it was kind of back and forth, and Scheffler kind of injected himself into it a little bit. And I mean, Cantley was missing some short ones, which really got me nervy, and then he was hitting some clutch ones at the end. So overall, I mean, I was pretty pumped to watch it. Feels a little bit like a dirty win, but a win's a win, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's hard. We have to get into the Jon Rahm part of the discussion because he clearly was going to win this tournament. Here I have John here, the big withdrawal after Saturday. Kind of same thing I was feeling. Like I was watching it Saturday afternoon, and at about 13th, 14th hole, my dreams were over. I was like, not winning. Cantley's out. Rahm's running away with this. He was playing so well. Like when you looked at it, he was 18 under after 3 rounds. Jack must have been sitting in the booth just so mad that his new courses and his renos, and Rahm was just taking it apart. But unfortunately for Rahm, he got the positive test. Protocols said he had to withdraw. It was a confusing sight at the time. I was watching it. I didn't really know what was going on, and the TV didn't. Like Jim Nantz, Nick Faldo had no idea as well. But once it came to light that it was a COVID test, part of me felt guilty that I was a little happy. I knew I had a chance with Cantley the next day. But I mean, the PGA did the right thing. They followed the protocols. Rahm knows where he went wrong. I mean, if he was a little more on top of things and had his vaccines, he would have been fine. He does have them, I read, but he's a little behind. So this probably won't happen to him again. But the good news was we won a bet. We had an exciting Sunday where we almost watched Cantley get putted by Morikawa and lose, which I couldn't believe. But it was a nice back and forth. But good win for the pod. Good win for Cantley. Yeah, I hope that sums up the Rahm saga. But you have anything you want to put a bow on that? And
it's said that, like, I caught a little bit of the remainder of the second round with the Saturday morning. I saw his hole in one. He was playing good then, but you kind of got the feeling they knew something was going on. Neither Morikawa or Xander celebrated with him. No one gave him a high five. So he had an idea that he was in jeopardy a little bit. But that back nine that he played on Saturday afternoon, all season, I don't think I've seen someone play golf like that. It was just lights out, showing two of the other best golfers in the world that they couldn't even touch him. It's a shame it ended this way, but it's a lesson, I guess, and it's an expensive lesson, but it's a lesson. But the other thing I wanted to touch on was Brooks and Bryson. I mean, was it just me, or was Bryson's group the only one that had a police escort for 18 holes?
That
Like,
was ridiculous.
it seemed crazy. This dude followed them around the whole time, but I mean, the fact that he was getting people kicked off the course for yelling "Let's go Brooksy" it's just it's so weak. It's very clear that he can't keep up this beef with Brooks unless he hires someone to take over his social media. And then Brooks comes out with the Michelob post saying he's giving away beer to people who got kicked out. I mean, I'm not drinking Michelob. I got one of these nice fancy Breton Brewery craft beers here. It's delicious, and we're still sponsored.
Oh, free plug. Nice.
I mean, we're clearly Team Brooks on this podcast, but what did you think about that?
I mean, I think it's the kicking people out's a little ridiculous. Bryson's cringeworthy to me. Like every time he gets on the camera, when they asked him about it, the interview, like he starts saying, "People call me Hogan." Like I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest. Like, so I'm, like you said, I'm clearly Team Brooks as well. Brooks really shouldn't be promoting heckling, but I kind of like, other than that, I kind of like Brooks poking the bear a bit, making this interesting. Just we don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we know what we're really waiting for with the Brooks Bryson showdown. But I'm all for it. More eyes on the golf, more fun, more other stuff than just the playing. I'm in for it. But Bryson's tough to watch for me. I just it's a tough interview, tough look. That's pretty much what I have on that. Okay, let's touch on another golf event. I wanted to give my quick recap of the women's US Open. I actually, here we go. Here's our 2021 champ, Yuka Sasso, from the Philippines, first major champion from the Philippines. I work with a lot of Filipinos at work, and they never watch golf and never want to talk about it with me. But Monday morning, they knew about this, so this was a big win for them. 19 years old, tied for the youngest ever to win with Imby Park. Again on Sunday, another playoff. Unfortunately, one of my big reviews of the U.S. Open was I really enjoyed it Thursday, Friday, Saturday on the West Coast. You could finish the PGA and then get a couple hours of this on its own, and had the TV do itself. And I know on Sunday during the final round, due to NBC, they made them start early and they made them start in threesomes, so it was competing directly against the Memorial. And I was watching Memorial and only caught the playoff for this, so kind of wish they let it have its own time and go into prime time. But it was good golf. I really enjoyed the course in San Francisco. I believe it was the 2012 US Open that Webb Simpson won that played there, and I couldn't remember the course from that far back. But big win. It was fun to watch. I wish it was on a little later, but that is my takeaway of the women's 2021 US Open. And as we are doing this pod and giving more picks for trying to get into the LPGA, the Euro Tour, little Masters Tour, and starting to learn some new golfers. And I wish I knew this one because I believe she was 300 to 1 heading into the tournament. So that's my review of the women's US Open. Ryan, what do you have for us I'm going to leave it to you to preview our PGA Tour next stop.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing you didn't touch on was how Lexi Thompson blew it down the stretch. She had a real chance to win this. I thought it was a crazy stat. She's 26 years old. It's her 50th major competition. That's crazy. But yeah, congrats to Sasso, 300 to 1. I hope we get another one this week on the LPGA that's north of those odds, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, teaser.
All right. So this week, a little bit of calm before the storm. We're off to Congaree Golf Club in South Carolina. So it's a little bit of a warm up for the US Open. What do we know about this course? Not a whole lot. As with most of our first looks, we rely on our guy, John PGA Tout on Twitter. Yeah, he puts out a great article every Sunday outlining the upcoming course. So great Twitter follow. For the second straight year now, our beloved Canadian Open is being canceled due to COVID. So Congaree's kind of stepping in as a pinch hitter here. From what I've read on the course, it sounds like a beautiful course. Golf Digest just ranked it 39 in America. It's ahead of some big tracks like Wingfoot, Bethpage Black. There's been a lot of comps to like an Australian kind of field A lot of the Australian golf courses have a similar design elements to this. They're saying it's a lot of the design was based straight off Royal Melbourne. So of course it's going to play long. I don't think that's necessarily going to be that important. Driving distance will be in play, not so much accuracy. The fairways are big. I think strong iron play from long irons is going to be pretty important here. We're back on Bermuda grass, so you can check the splits that favor those kind of golfers. The field, it's a different story. It's too bad such a nice course is kind of sandwiched in this spot. It's across country from Torrey. A lot of people don't want to make that trip. It's kind of got a Corn Ferry type field. You got the two studs and DJ and Brooks up top. Kind of hoping Brooks is just using this as a chance to get a feel for his game before the U.S. Open. I got to think he's got no interest in walking a long course for 4 days. So I think he's going to do what he does, make his tweaks, and just miss the cut and head across country to Torrey. I can see DJ kind of accidentally playing well here and then maybe chasing the money in his home state. But I'm going to be fading both the guys at the top. What do you think here, bud?
Okay. Yes, I'll go first. I'm on board. I can't possibly take the favorites here. Like DJ Brooks, there's no value there, especially when you don't know how they're going to treat the week, whether it's just a tune up, work on some things. Even the next level is kind of the English guys. You got Hatton, Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, and then throw in Sanjay as in that tier. And then it really falls off after that. So my strategy is I'm just going long shots and I'm playing each ways on every single one. So I'm just hoping with my outright picks, and I'm going to say it up front too, because we both agree to this. This is a Doc Redman week. We're both taking him. We've both kind of been on him. So it's not going to be on our slides, but Doc Redman, first guy for me at about 71-1, playing everything on it each way to hit top 5, which kind of is unfortunate. I like getting usually top 8 for each way, but only top 5 this week. First one, Scott Stallings, 76-1. Recent form, 4 straight cuts. Usually we have a better case when picking guys because they're top of the line guys. But I mean, we're talking about a guy ranked 200 in the world. But in a field like this is where he can shine. Recently top 5 at the Byron Nelson. Next on the list is Luke List, course record here at Congaree. So that was a nice little fact there. He can drive the ball top 10 in driving distance, and with no real penalty for spraying it around. Maybe that course record form in the long drive can help him out. Recently top 6 in Wells Fargo, another long driving course. And then my last outright, and again, I'm playing all these each ways. I'm going with the debut of John Pock, the NCAA Player of the Year, the Jack Nicklaus Award winner, 8 wins in college, bright future for him. So I'm hoping maybe to get lucky and at 151-1, kind of strike gold before he really makes a name for himself on tour. So those are my 3/4 picks, because we're going to count Doc for both of us just in case Doc comes through. What do you got for your outrights? I know you're not going quite as long as I am.
Yeah, I stayed kind of in the middle tier this week. Again, fading the top 5, 6 guys. You mentioned my guy that I'm starting with, Sungjae Im. 21-1. I'm pretty confident in Sanjay this week. Look, he's not coming in red hot, that's for sure, but he's proven he can shake off a bad tournament. His irons are usually his bread and butter, but they haven't been the best lately. But he ranks 2nd in strokes gained off the tee, 3rd in strokes gained putting. Even though his irons have been a little bit shaky, he still ranks second best in this field on approach shots over 200 yards. I think that's going to come into real play here. He lost over 2 strokes putting last time out. Last time he did that, lost his 2 strokes putting. He came back and gained 7 strokes putting the next week. So he also favors these Bermuda greens. He performs well on these putting surfaces. I talked about the Australian courses being good comps. He's dominated over there at the President's Cup at Royal Melbourne in 2019. He beat Cantlay and Xander twice with 2 different partners. So pretty bullish on Sungjae this week. My next bet's going to be Killer Keith Mitchell at 41-1. So we know it's going to play long here. Mitchell averages 305 yards off the tee. Much like Sungjae, he loves the Bermuda greens. So this field, his strokes gain numbers on Bermuda greens are first off the tee, second on approach, and first ball. So I think old Grumpy Cat's going to be pretty comfortable here, close to home, on a course that really fits his game. So I like Keith Mitchell this week. And my third play is Harold Varner at 50-1. So Carolina native is going to have a little bit of a home game this week. Pretty decent form. He made his last three cuts, last three tournaments. So hosted a T2 just down the road at Hilton Head a few weeks back. And in keeping with that Australian course comp narrative, HP3 was a winner of the Australian PGA Championship in 2016, and he finished second in 2015. So hoping that some good cooking can finally get Varner across the line this week.
Okay, so I'll quickly go through the rest of my plays. This being an off week, I'm literally only actually playing what I'm saying on the pod here. Usually I got a lot of other stuff going on and I might add some plays mid-tournament, but I have 8 plays and that's what I'm sticking to on an off week, kind of saving up for the US Open. So counting Doc and those 3 outrights, that's 4. And then for our bonus plays, first one, I'm doing Tommy Fleetwood, top 10, 3-1. I just wanted to take one of the English guys in the second tier, past Brooks and DJ. Liked Tommy's odds, enjoy rooting for him. So we're not getting a lot of analysis on that pick. I just wanted to have Tommy on the card and hope that he could bring in a top 10, show some form here. My second one, again, a lot of playing with the heart here. You've been pumping up Garrick Higo a lot lately and you hit that win. So I feel like the strength of field here, Higo can hit the ball and he's a really good putter. I feel like this might be the kind of place where he could shine. We might see him on TV this weekend on a weaker field. So I'm taking him top 20 at 2.62-1. And then another play, I'm taking a top 20, Joseph Bramlett. Not going to lie, he could knock on my door right now and I don't know what he would look like, but I did some reading on him. A lot of people picking him. I know he was on your bomb list. So I decided to take a flyer on Joseph Bramlett this week at top 20, 5-1. And then my last play, I wanted to do some LPGA top 5, top 10s, but my betting site wasn't posting those odds. So I had to do a pivot in the last minute. And I wanted to take a winner, but at a little like medium to longer odds. And I did some quick course history, and Charlie Hall came 3rd and 4th at this tournament, the only 2 times played here. So it's 3rd time's a charm. Time to get the win, Charlie Hall at 46-1 as my bonus LPGA play.
I like it. Charlie Hall was it 3rd and 4th, you said?
3rd and 4th, and the only other 2 times this tournament's been played.
Oh, and first on Instagram. All right, so my 4 picks. First one's going to be Lucas Glover as a top 10. That's paying $450. So I mean, it's all you had to do was a little digging to know that Glover's the only guy who knows a little bit about this course. He's the ambassador here. He's gained strokes putting in 6 of his last 8 tournaments. Coming off a T8 at Colonial, local guy, Clemson Tiger. So I think that knowledge is going to suit him well this week, and I think he'll be in the mix come the weekend. I like your play of Luke List, so I'm going to take him as a top 20 for $375. Another guy who can really hit the bombs. The big help here for him is going to be the big fairways, keep his ball in play for sure. You mentioned already he owns the course record here, and he also leads this field in par 5 scoring. So I like his chances to be at least a top 20 play this week. Then I'm going over to your bread and butter here, the LPGA. So this, I'm not going to lie, is a complete tale of you here. You're the LPGA whisperer, but I did get a chance to listen to the No Laying Up podcast last week and listen to Patty Tanakit. So I'm playing her at 19-1. She hits the ball a long way, and I really like how her game lines up here this week. And then my last play is a little bit of a shoot the moon kind of play, but I'm taking Michelle Wee West at 400. Yes, 400-1. I mean, she's battled wrist injuries, and she's talked about retirement at only 30 years old after having her baby, but she hasn't been in good form since she's came back. She missed the cut last week at the US Open, but I'm hoping maybe this trip back home to her home course at Lake Merced, it seems like a good place for her to rekindle her love for the game and find her form again. So I'm taking a shot at 400-1.
Okay, on to the one and done. So quick recap how you did last week, your current standing, and what we're deciding for this week for our one and done decision.
Yeah, not the best week for my guy Xander. It could have been worse for me because I really struggled with the Xander or Hovland pick for my one and done. I wish I would have picked him, but a strong Sunday really would have helped me from Victor. But I fell to 46th in the Mayo one and done, still in the money. But this week at a pretty much crapshoot becomes a pretty pivotal week here. I think every week's going to be, everyone's pretty close. So you can gain ground pretty quickly if you get the winner. I got both Brooks and DJ left, but I already talked about why I'm not playing them this week. Plus I'm saving Brooks for next week at least. So I'm going with Sungjae. I just really feel like this course lines up well for him. I'm hoping his approach game comes back. He loves these Bermuda greens. And if I'm being honest, the only other guy I'm considering is, like you talked about, Doc Redman. I mean, that'd be a shot from out of left field, but nobody's playing Doc Redman. It could win me a lot of money, or it could sink me. So I'm probably playing Sungjae, but Doc's in the running anyway.
Yeah, I figured you would be choosing in that second tier range, and obviously once I saw Sanjay on your outrights, I figured that's where you had to go. But any thought on Hatton at all here, or you just, was it the odds on Sanjay that made you pick him to the outright? Or
I originally thought that Hatton would be a good play here. I liked Sanjay's odds better, I guess. Hatton just seems so hit or miss. Like he reminds me a lot of John Rahm and the way he gets really emotional on the course. Except his game's not as good as Rahm, so it doesn't take a whole lot to get him off his game. I find I'd play him in something that wasn't as significant as this, but where I need to hit something for sure. I just don't trust him.
yeah, I mean, lost my thought. Oh yeah. So sum up, to play with your head, it's Sanjay. With your heart, it's Doc. At the moment, we're going Sanjay. Probably where you're going to land.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close this out. Me and you both know we're probably taking a lot of time off watching this week. Then all of a sudden, Sunday's going to happen. Doc's going to be one shot off the lead, and we're going to be texting back and forth. Finally, it's time. But stay tuned. Next week, obviously, is a major week. Looking forward to it. Maybe make some money this weekend, and then we'll be back to preview the US Open next week. So another episode of Hitting Buckets complete.